Okay, let's go to our second speaker for the day. Bill is the CEO of the Ganon Group, a communication coaching firm. Bill speaks on sales training, executive presence, and public speaking. He calls himself a communication plumber. He finds where communication is clogged in your company and clears the pipes. Here is Bill Ganon.
Thank you, Ed. If the pandemic and the ensuing recovery period has taught us anything, it's that technology moved front and center into how we communicate with our family, at work, with our community. Staying connected in a physically quarantined environment was a lifeline for most everyone. Zoom, Clubhouse, Slack became household names. Texting felt like breathing. Now, to be clear, we were using a lot of these technologies before the pandemic. It's just that COVID made them feel indispensable. Now, it's no surprise that if you're spending a lot of time communicating with technology, you're spending less time doing it on a human one-to-one basis. I mean, after all, there still are only so many hours to any given day. But it's not the quantity of our communication, it's really the quality. Societies rely on communication to work, to raise families, to govern, just to be better citizens with each other. And have you noticed in recent years, there's been a real erosion of our overall ability to communicate as humans? Work communication is predominantly tech-based. We've got email tonnage coming in fast, and we have to handle it just as fast going out. You combine this with Zoom meetings, Slack, texting. Here's the consequence. Forbes in 2019 said, when it comes to effective business communication, over-reliance on technology at work can be a hindrance, especially when it ends up replacing face-to-face human interaction. And what about our responsibility to truly own and be accountable for what we say in comments, chats, tweets? These can easily disappear behind keyboards. Our traditional brain processing of receive, react, and respond has deteriorated into a ready, fire, aim sequence. Our human conversation is hurting. And I attribute this to two key factors: speed and selection. Let's talk about speed for a minute. You know, for 6,000 years, going back to our early ancient societies, how did people communicate? Face to face, human to human, one to one. This was it. This was the only thing they had. Everything was in play. Body language, intonation, what people wore, all contributed to how one human communicated with another. Think of our tribal ancestors passing down information and legends and information from one generation to the next. This was all looked at with honor and reliability. And this is how our brains processed communication for thousands and thousands of years. Sure, we then got the telephone and we were sending letters, but these two were human one-to-one connectors. The brain managed communication like this for thousands of years until the 1990s, when email hit the mainstream. Then, over the next 30 years, we went into communication warp speed. Email, followed by the internet, by phones, texting, social media, all combined to accelerate our communication speed beyond anything known for the 6,000 years before. In essence, we're breaking our evolutionary brain speed limit for processing and communicating information. The other reason is selection. Now look, I love social media as much as anybody. I mean, it's fantastic. It's enabled us to connect in ways we never thought possible. On its best days, it's fun, it's transparent. On its darkest days, it's hostile and disguised. But there's another insidious effect, and that is this. It's enabled us to pick and surround ourselves with only the opinions and facts that are aligned with ours. You've heard about the echo chamber. And less exposure to conflicting viewpoints results in lower tolerances for differences and a greater tendency to simply broadcast your point of view and filter out everybody else's. And when you combine the selection with this get it out now, hurry up speed of the new internet, you have communication roadkill. It's like trying to drive a NASCAR at 200 miles and the only thing you're looking through is a paper towel tube. We need our whole windshield. We need the whole dashboard. We're not allowing our brains to communicate in harmony with the way they were evolved and created. And if we can do that and still use technology to the fullest, we all win. Let me suggest 4 basic strategies to help us do just that. And since I love to hang out with sales teams, the acronym is going to be SALE, SALE. The S is for speak more, email less. Now, you can FaceTime and Zoom a little if you want, but here's the thing. The human voice is full of obvious and subtle characteristics that no typed words can ever duplicate. When voices meet, disagreements can be more directly addressed, even if the final conclusion is agree to disagree. The A is for ask questions. Be inquisitive. Behind every belief or assertion is a why. And one of the best ways to repair communication is to encourage communication. And asking questions is one of the best ways. Let me give you 3 words to make you a better question asker right in your next conversation. Ready? Tell me more. Number 3, the 3rd letter is L for listen. If you're going to commit to using your voice more, please make an equal commitment to using your ears even more. God gave you 2 ears, 1 mouth. You've heard it a million times. But one of the gaping holes in our human communication today is active listening, truly trying to connect with the other person. And technology-based systems simply don't encourage active listening. This was from an early mentor of mine, and I share it with you now. Speak like you're correct, but listen like you're wrong. And the 4th, E, is for empathy. Okay, demonstrating empathy, the importance of making another person truly feel like you're trying to understand what they're about, like you really want to get to the bottom of it. That's one of the greatest gifts you can give another person. So there's your SALE acronym. Speak more, email less. Ask questions, listen, demonstrate empathy. These are the foundational building blocks to energize our human conversation and provide a much needed balance to these technological marvels of our society. And when we do that, we all win. Now, obviously, for my keynotes and workshops and training sessions, I dive into these topics with much more concrete ways and techniques on to incorporate them into your particular industry or business. But if these topics sound remotely interesting to you, I'd be so honored to have that conversation and talk more. I'm Bill Ganon, the CEO of the Ganon Group, and let me leave you with this last thought. The biggest problem with communication is the assumption that it's taken place. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate that. Very interesting. Assuming communication's taking place. Excellent.